Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Forum.
I'm Alfredo.
Brian.
Bemnet. Micky.
All right, so I think Micky is the one picking out the topic for today.
Yeah, because I'm the shit.
Okay.
Language.
Sorry.
Kids should not be watching us, so...
I mean, they could.
Or listening.
People watch Family Guy at a young age.
They don't say shit on Family Guy, do they?
Yes, they do.
They don't say shit, though.
No, they don't. They don't... Oh, but they do say son of a bitch. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, see, they say bad things.
Bitch is just a dog.
Wow. Okay. What are your feelings and experiences with society-based family roles?
You mean like gender roles in the household, right?
Yes.
Like how the mom is like the old.
Like the
yeah,
roles?
like how it.
Like the father should go out to work. The mother cooks, cleans, takes care of the kids.
Right, yes.
Okay.
Or like even if, because I know there are some roles in other people's homes where it's like both parents still work, but the mother still comes home, cooks, cleans, takes care of the kids, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So old school roles, that are still being...
Like 1950s roles.
Yes, that are still being lived out today for some effing reason.
Well, if it works, okay, here's the thing. If it works for you, then it works for you. But I guess it's just our general opinion about what we think of them. But for some people, it still works.
A better way to put it is if you want to do it, then you do you.
Yeah.
You know, if you're busy being a housewife, hey, more power to you. But it shouldn't be expected. I think that's the issue here, that people, well, when I say people, I mean parents, they try to instill these roles into their kids at a very young age. And I feel like nowadays more women are being more woke about this. I see a lot of TikToks where women are like, I will never make my daughters feel this way or do this, because it is kind of crappy. I feel like it's the girls get a raw deal. They're expected to cook and clean and pick up after the men, and the men are expected to just be the breadwinners and, you know, basically just do like the household chores that require a lot of work, like mow the grass or pull up the weeds or whatever the hell you want to call it. And I think that's stupid.
But even then, that's like a 1 day out of the week job. You know, like that doesn't need to be every day. Cooking and cleaning needs to be every day for the most part. You know, so even if it's not cooking but cleaning, you know, you don't need to you don't need to clean every day, but there are people out there that like are, you know, clean freaks. Like they like to keep everything tidy and clean, which I am completely for, but I'm just like, it shouldn't be expected of only the woman to do that, you know? Mm-hmm. That's just my opinion. I'm like, that's not fair. Like, you both live there. If you both have kids, y'all should, like, split the work evenly. Even if, you know, I'm all for also, like, one day, if the guy doesn't want to do nothing, the girl will just do everything. And then the next day, the guy will, you know, be like, you know what? I'm not too tired from work. I'll go ahead and do everything. Like, I'm cool with that. We can do that. That's okay, too. But I'm just like, it should be even.
50-50.
Well, here's the thing about 50-50, because me and Micky were talking about this the other day, actually, because I was watching a TikTok video and it referenced this. But when it comes to like 50-50, at least what I've noticed when like men think about 50-50, it's usually like finances. Like we split the rent in half, we split all the bills in half, we do all this. But in reality, if we go by like the gender roles that are placed, the man wants to do 50-50, but on top of that, the woman also has to cook and clean and take care of the kids if there's any.
So that's not a true 50-50.
So it's not a true 50-50, but the way that most men think about it, they think financially. But in reality, you have to think about everything.
Mm-hmm. It's 80-20.
I mean, speaking from like my experiences, my household for the most part was 50-50. Mm. Like I feel like with both my parents, they're still pretty traditional and pretty, for the most part, conservative. But the one thing that I loved growing up was it wasn't like we weren't put in a box where, okay, my dad's the one that like works and brings home the money, and you know he comes home and sits on his ass and doesn't do anything after that. Like it was never like that for me, which I appreciated. And then because growing up, my parents both worked, so they both worked. My dad usually worked mornings, my mom usually worked nights, so there was always somebody in the house kind of like watching the kids, doing like cooking and cleaning. And then as we got older, like this was mostly like my mom, because my mom my mom's usually the one that kind of, I guess, wears the pants in the house, for lack of better phrasing. But she's the one that like taught me and my brother basically how to take care of ourselves. So like how to cook, how to clean, how to just generally take care of ourselves. So that's something that my mom took upon herself. But besides that, everything was almost straight down the middle, 50-50, except for like maybe finances, but that's just because my parents kept their finances separate, like checking, separate savings. But even then, my mom would still just say, hey, can I have your card? And, you know, vice versa.
Right.
So essentially, I grew up lucky where everything was 50-50. Now, that being said, I still was expected to follow the gender stereotype of I have to get married, I have to have kids. You know, that was expected of me. I don't care so much for kids, not necessarily, but I don't know. My experiences, I kind of got lucky with it, like with that. And I know that's not the case for you, because that was very opposite. So in my immediate household, I got lucky. Now, other family members, like my aunts, my uncles, they were not like that. They were very much like the husband works, the wife cooks and cleans. And I'm like, that's gross. That's kind of gross.
Yeah. I mean, in a way, like the way I think about it, when I was younger, I hated it because I wanted to have a life. Like I wanted to like go out with my friends. I wanted to go to parties. I wanted to go to like the park. Like I wanted to socialize with my friends. But because like there was no woman in the household, like I was expected to do it. And I mean, in a way, I guess it was kind of fair now that I think about it, because you know, our dad was putting like a roof over our head, and he was giving us money, and he was feeding us and all this other stuff. And I guess the only fair thing for me to do was to cook and clean. But I mean, I got to a certain point where I rebelled, and it was like, well, I'm just tired of it.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Keep going.
No, and I got tired of it. And, you know, I mean, for me, I don't mind doing things for my dad. Like, it's never been a problem. I just hated that. I think what the thing that I hated was that it was expected of me, you know, and I hate when things are expected of me, because I feel like it's high, like the expectation is high, and I don't want it to be that high. Like I want it to be like halfway of what they expect, you know, like I'm just gonna half-ass the whole thing. Like I don't care, but I'm also not gonna sit there and clean every day. Like I got school, I got homework. I didn't do it all the time, but I got homework.
I mean, I do want to go back to what you said about it's the least you could do, because father was putting a roof over your head and all that, and paying for groceries and all of that. It shouldn't have been the least you could have done is go to school and take care of your business, because you were a kid. You were a child. And honestly, here's the thing. As much as like I probably gonna like I would have been lazy, a lot of that responsibility should have fallen on me too, because I'm your older brother. You know, but the fact that he was so used to the fact that mom used to, you know, she would go out to work, and she would be in the strike, and then she would come home and still cook and clean and everything. It's that kind of mentality, I think, went back over to you, because you're, like you said, you're the only woman left. Yeah. But a lot of that responsibility should have fallen on me too. So we should have shared that. Me, like, sure, he made me go like fix cars with him, and then when he wasn't around, I was in charge of like cutting the grass, and like I had like Brian was saying earlier, like the quote unquote manly chores, and then you were relegated to cooking, cleaning, dishes, like that kind of stuff. Oh my god, even when we were growing up and we would have like little parties or whatever, all the women, our aunt, our grandma, you, all of our cousins that were girls would be in the kitchen cleaning, and all the guys would be outside with the barbecue.
Let me tell you something though. let me tell you something about those stories though. Us girls, and you know, I'm speaking for like my cousins and everyone else, we didn't want to be in that kitchen.
Oh, I know.
We wanted to be outside with the boys, whether it was we're out there playing football, we're playing soccer, we're playing flag football. Like we were not girly girls. One of us kind of is, but it's not that big of a deal, you know. Like we didn't want to be in the kitchen. We weren't those type of women. Like
our do what was expected of you.
Right. Like our aunts, our grandma, like they wanted to be in the kitchen talking about a whole bunch of nonsense, and we were like, "Come on, hurry up so we can get outside." That's really how it was.
Yeah.
So,
for those of you watching that are probably wondering and have all these questions, to keep it brief, Freddy and Michelle lost their mom at a young age, and this is why their life. I think their life was very, very chaotic after that point, and I think it's because, like Micky said, she was expected because she was the only woman in the house. But I also think that I agree with Freddy when you said, "Oh, at least I can do it." It's like, no, because you didn't have a proper childhood or teenage, like your teenage years. You had to basically grow up really fast and learn the basics of a housewife when you were not meant to be one.
You were 8, right, when Mom passed? Yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously, like, I cannot speak for experience because I've been blessed to still have my mother with me, so I can't fathom the pain, but I can understand that it's probably really, really horrible to lose a parent. So when that happened, obviously people grieve differently, and I'm pretty sure that Freddy was like in his own world trying to process what had just happened, and here is Michelle trying to take the reins so that the household doesn't crumble in a sense.
Well, she was forced under that position, though.
Yes.
It wasn't that she wanted to stop that, because, like, if anything, I tried to do that for as long as I could, but like you said, like I was dealing with my own shit at that time, and I was processing the grief in my own way. But Micky, I don't think you got to properly grieve at that time anyway. Cause I mean, you got to, from what you still got to, but Father put you into that role like very quickly. Like, and a part of me feels like he didn't even know he was doing it. Like that was just instinctually, like, because Father, how he grieves is, he grieves in private and it's back to work. Let's work so we don't have to feel anything. The best way to put it. So I think he thought the same thing would work with you. Like, it's all like, I'm gonna teach, it's about time, like, she learned how to cook, how to clean, if she, and I think that's, and around that time is when you were spending a lot of time with grandma too, right? So she could teach you how to be a woman. Well,
that was the only way.
Yeah.
Because it was either that or I stay here by myself.
Yeah.
And kind of learn on my own.
Yeah.
Fortunately for me, I had people that were there for me. Like, even if it wasn't like the best people, they were still there for me. They taught me things. Our dad did, find somebody else, and she was there for me a lot. Yeah. She showed me how to cook. She showed me how to clean a lot of things properly and how to clean things a lot more efficient than the way I was. So, the thing is, I did have time to grieve. Okay. It was, like our father, I grieved in private because it was just, that's like the only way I can, because I felt like I had no other way, but like, even till this day, like, I grieve when we go see her, like, that's just what I do. But like, for me, it was hard. I guess it was hard to kind of grieve over the death of my mother. At the time when I was 8, though, I didn't really understand what was going on. I was like, I knew she was gone, but I guess as you get older, you kind of realize, like, oh, shit, they're dead. Like, you're never going to see them again. I guess that's when it really, like, hits you, But, I don't like the whole stereotype of, like, the woman has to cook and the woman has to clean while the man goes out and makes them, like, the bread or the money or whatever. And I'm just like, that's not something I want in my life, because that's what I had to do.
Yeah. Well, that's not the thing. The thing is, too, that kind of model where the man has to go out and, win the bread and the woman has to stay home, that in our economy, in our society right now, that's not really possible unless one person is making at least 6 figures.
We're talking about lawyers, doctors,
Yeah,
whatever.
And even 6 figures isn't all that great anymore. Like, 6 figures is still a lot of money, but at the same time, is that enough to sustain a family, a household, everything? Honestly, maybe, depending on where you live.
Depending on where you live, you could be middle class with 6. You are middle class with 6 figures, but it's still just, you're not like you're at a fairly decent comfortability.
Right. So it's like Brian said, unless the person is like a high class lawyer, like private firm, like a doctor, like surgeon type thing, like unless you are very like unless you make really good money like that, you really can't support a family like that. Like one person goes to work all the time and one person doesn't, and one person just stays home and maintains the house like a homemaker.
Yeah.
So it's not really feasible in our society as of right now.
Yeah. No, you're right. It's true.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I feel like a lot of people don't understand that though. I feel like a lot of people like have kids and they realize, oh, I can do it. I just need you to stay home and just cook and clean and do it. And then once the bills start piling up, it's like, oh shit, I can't anymore. Yeah. And it's been like a month or two, you know, and now they're like, I'm struggling. I need you to get a job. Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, bitch, I told you.
Well, this is something that you should, I mean, again, I feel like all of our videos come down to the same crap. Communication. Mm-hmm. Why would you two not talk about the future before, start popping kids out left and right?
The thing is, sometimes kids are accidents and the kids aren't planned and nothing like that. And also, finances is a big thing for a couple to talk about. Like, I'm not saying like every couple is going to struggle if they have good open communication and they're open to it. Great. But for a lot of couples, finance is such a tricky subject. Like whether it's talking about doing the whole nuclear family thing, whatever, with one man working or one person working, one person staying at home, or if it's just general, we need to create a budget or we need to do this, we need to do that. Talking about money can potentially be like a powder keg that can start a lot of arguments.
Yeah. But I think that's because it kind of comes down to not a lot of people had the know-how or have the know-how of how to save and how to budget and how to properly handle their money.
Me.
I can't stand y'all.
I still barely know how to save. Like, I'm terrible.
I'm just a shopaholic. I'm pretty bad.
Okay, same. But I can't really use that excuse because my mom is good at saving. Both my parents are good at saving because my dad is stingy and my mom actually knows how to find deals.
Dang, Mr. Emmanuel, she's just throwing you under the bus.
Hi, Dad, love you. But he knows he's a cheap ass. We all know. We all do. He owns up to it, so it's not like I'm calling him out. He knows. But yeah. So I had to know how for financial stability. I just like spending money. I like buying stuff.
I feel that.
But I think it also, I mean, for me, yes, the whole role of one woman in the house, in the house and the man makes work, that's just like the what is it, the base? We don't even, or wait, is it the top? And we haven't even, how does that saying go?
What?
That's only the surface. You need to
dig deeper, maybe?
You need to break the surface?
Whatever, you guys know the gist, I hope.
I still don't know what you're talking about.
Scratch the surface. There we go, scratch the surface. So it's more than that. Like, I saw the stereotypes when in my family, like women have a certain role and men have certain roles, but I think for me, what affected me the most is the roles that they put on the kids. Because I was a boy, I was not allowed to play with dolls. I was not allowed to like girly things. God forbid that I wanted to play house because that was so like not welcomed and you better like shape up and go play with cars like a boy or play outside in the dirt like a boy. And that to me that really bothered me because as a kid, obviously now I'm a proud gay man and I'm like,
you're gay?
Yes. Oh. We'll talk about that later. But I think that now anyway. Idiot.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm so proud of you.
Shut up. Anyway, I think that now it's like, yes, like you guys went out of your way to forbid me these things and nothing changed. I still am who I am. So if anything, you just made my childhood a little rougher and you made it so I had to sneak around and play with dolls when you weren't looking and like girly things and collect girly things that I could hide from you. So on that aspect, I did not have the funnest childhood. Now I am lucky that my mom is so like open-minded and chill and loves me for me, and I'm so happy about that. But being a kid was rough, and I think like how Micky was saying, well, us girls didn't want to be in the kitchen, we wanted to be outside and play. But that was not allowed because girls are supposed to stay clean and proper and help with the household chores. Let the men go outside and do that, and it's just annoying.
Yeah, and I do want to go into that a little bit because it's interesting because whereas like boys are supposed to like play with action figures and trucks and like toy trucks and whatever, and sometimes Legos, depending on, there's a little nerd in them, but because Legos is tricky because Legos, some people are like, oh, Legos, they build stuff, it's manly, but
Legos are just tiny mega blocks anyway.
Well, yeah, but
no,
they also come with cool shapes and all this other stuff, so it's kind of cool. But anyway, and then girls are supposed to be like, girls, it's a little bit more complicated. Like, let's be honest. With girls, stereotypically, the mom wants the girl to be prim and proper, cooking, cleaning, whatever. Like, stereotypically, I'm not saying, like, whatever. And then for men, the men, when they see their daughter, they want her, if she's interested in, like, football, or if she's interested in, like, sports in any kind of way, or, like, maybe, like, out fixing cars, like, he will support that. So, but with the boys, like, unless it's, like, a very open-minded mom, and or like stereotypically, like whatever, generally, the boy is meant to act and behave a certain way no matter what. But with girls, it's a little bit more lenient depending on which parent you're talking to and where the child's interest lies.
I see where you're coming from, but I'm not sure if I necessarily agree. Okay. Just because you said like with girls as kids, like the mom's usually the ones that are like, okay, my daughter needs to be prim and proper, while usually the dads are like, oh, if my daughter wants to be into football or cars or whatever, like, yeah, I'll support that, if anything, I'll help her out with that and everything. Right. But not all parents. Like I can tell you of a few friends where their dad, like a few girlfriends that I had where their dads were strictly just like, nope, I don't want my daughter getting into any of this shit, like at all. Like I want her strictly to just basically like be a little mini mom, like learn how to cook, learn how to clean, be into dresses, be into makeup, do all of that the stereotypically girl stuff, right? But then I've also known other households where they didn't care. It's like, yeah, my daughter likes trucks and dinosaurs and all that, and then my son likes Barbies and makeup, and I'm like, okay, and they're cool with that. So I don't know if that's necessarily like.
No, I'm just speaking like stereotypically generally.
But I feel like that's hard to say just because I don't know if we can pinpoint that stereotype.
No, I guess not necessarily.
I think what Freddy means is more like a double standard. I don't know, like.
I mean.
Yeah, like
okay, because it's more looked down upon if a boy likes to wear a dress or go play with Barbies
than if a girl likes to wear pants and overalls and flannel. And yeah, going off the topic a little bit, it's the same thing with the LGBT community. People will be more accepting towards a lesbian couple than a gay couple. Yeah. Because men fantasize about that shit. And it's fucked up because men can be like, oh, I don't like gay people. But if two girls are making out, oh, yes, please keep doing it.
Okay, but that goes into like a whole different kind of thing because like you can have two lesbians kissing in front of like a man, like a guy or whatever, and they'll fantasize, but only if they're conventionally attractive.
This is very true.
So it could be just if it's like two thinner, like pretty, like conventionally pretty women, then it'll be like, oh yeah, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But if it's like people who aren't necessarily conventionally attractive, like you won't see them on the cover of any kind of magazine anytime soon. Like they'll be all like, ew, no, get out of here. So I think that boils into a whole separate problem, where society views certain things as attractive and some and not attractive. I mean, it's not as bad as it was in like the early 2000s and the 90s where that ran rampant. That was terrible. I mean, we'll just talk about all the like girl celebrities that were killing themselves trying to get skinny. It's a lot better now.
Yeah.
But we still run into that issue. There's the pretty privilege. That pretty privilege is totally a thing.
Which is another topic.
I mean, that's something but we have discussed it in the past where it's like
Our makeup conversation.
Yeah, our makeup conversation about like, you know, do people treat you different because you wear makeup or not?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we've gotten into that topic. But going back to like the family, society-based family values, like, have you guys ever heard of a case where like women being younger and being like bigger, having their grandmas, their aunts, their mothers buy them things so that way they look thinner?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, and that's, I feel like I can personally talk about a case like that because that was my life. Because as I literally, like, you know, obviously when my mom passed, it was like I filled myself up with like food and stuff. Like, that's how I grieved. A lot of it was just like eating my pain away. Like, that's really all it was. And I felt like a lot of our family was like, well, you know what, we can buy you things to make you look skinnier. Like, it's fine. It'll work. It's okay. But it's like, it's not okay. You know, it's not. Because it's like, you're a young girl that shouldn't have to worry about that shit.
I'm sorry about laughing, but I just reminded me of like all the times grandma tried to throw her Herbalife at you, and like,
dude, ain't nobody care about that. Like
they tried to throw all these like they tried to throw like Slim Fast and Herbalife and all these other things, and it's just like without like you really wanting to, so it's like you wouldn't keep up with it at all. Like, you would only drink it in front of them, or you would only do it in front of them. Otherwise, you throw it down the sink, or you throw it away, it expired, and it's gone.
More than likely, it expired in the fridge.
Yeah.
That's really the way it happens.
So it's like unless, I don't know. But yeah, keep going. Sorry.
So yeah, no, that's like, I think that's another big thing. I don't know if it's just in, I would say, like a Hispanic household, because that was a lot of what I knew of. Like, I had a lot of bigger friends that had the same scenario and had the same situation, which to me, it bothered me a lot when I was younger. As I got older, I just kind of looked at it and I was like, I don't want that shit.
I don't know. I mean, well, Bemnet can answer if this happens in her culture, but I kind of see where Micky's coming from. I mean, not from like I lived through that, because honestly, yes, I am a bigger guy, but the most I get is, oh my god, like, you're gaining weight, maybe you should stop drinking the soda. I still drink it. But in my household, the girls are expected to always look good. God forbid that my cousins show up with their hair undone, because everyone's gonna be like, what, why? Like, why is your hair in a ponytail? Why is your hair in a bun? Like, why aren't you dressed for the gathering or for the occasion? But it's also a double standard, because if my aunt shows up all beautified and her kids look a mess, then they'll judge that. They'll be like, wow, look at her. She looks amazing, and her kids are gross. Like, what kind of mother is she? So it's one of those things, like, make up your mind. Like, you cannot have it both ways.
I mean, speaking from my culture, I don't want to fully speak for my culture, because growing up I did try to distance myself a lot for a number of reasons. But within my household, at least, my mom was someone that was very much like, you need to look good. If we're going somewhere, like if it was just like to the store or whatever, okay, yeah, whatever, just be comfortable, let's go. But if it was, we're going over to somebody's house, or we're going over to like some special occasion, a birthday, a wedding, anything, it was, you have to look good. You have to wear a dress. You have to do your hair. You have to wear like pretty shoes, and you can't just wear like sneakers and whatever, like, you know, hand-me-downs that you had. It was, I had to look good. And I always hated it, because I was never a girly girl. I was always such a huge tomboy, and I would much rather wear pants and sneakers and get messy, and I didn't give a shit about my hair. Like, I had my hair braided up until like middle school, and part of it was because it was easier for me to like take care of, you know, curly hair, but the other part of it was just, it was, honestly, that was it. It was just easier to take care of. It was easier for my mom to be like, okay, we're gonna make your hair look pretty in braids, instead of let's actually do your hair. So it was easier for my mom to kind of just like mold me in a way to where I looked acceptable to her standards. And as I got older, I didn't really care. I still never cared, and my mom kind of just got tired of trying. So I looked decent to where I didn't look like I rolled out of bed and got there. You know, I actually, you know, put on a decent outfit, but I didn't look conventionally pretty. Mm-hmm. And that kind of reminds me of, I was thinking of something that had happened when I was a kid. When you said that your grandma is always like, or I guess both of you are telling me like your grandma's like, try Herbalife or Slim Fast or whatever, and you know, said, try this, it'll make you look skinny. I remember as a kid, kind of the opposite. Like, pretty privilege does exist, because I had a family friend, still have this family friend, and I remember being like 7 or 8, and I'd always been skinny my whole life. That's just kind of how I had been. If anything, I was underweight for a while. And I remember him looking at me and just kind of out of the blue one day was like, hey, have you ever thought about being a model when you grow up? Like, you're skinny, you know, you're pretty, you got all the looks or whatever. And I remember looking at him dead in the face and just going, ew, that's gross. As a kid, I had no filter. I gave no fucks. I grew out of that quickly. Now I'm kind of growing back into giving no fucks.
He's getting a filter slowly.
I had a filter for a long time. Now I'm slowly getting rid of it. But I remember thinking that way because, yeah, I realized that I was skinny, but I didn't care to be girly. I rejected any of that because I wanted to do whatever the hell I wanted. Mm-hmm. So when it came to like fashion, when it came to makeup, when it came to anything resembling being pretty, I hated it. Like, generally hated it. My mom would tell me, don't pick at your scars because it'll leave marks on your body that won't go away.
You mean scabs?
Scabs.
Yeah. Don't pick at your scabs.
Don't pick at your scabs because it'll leave scars.
Yes. I'm like, wait, don't pick at your scars, it'll leave scars.
My bad.
You're fine.
It makes bigger scars.
It does, which is why I'm covered in scars now. Because partially it's become habit, and partially it was because I rejected that. I rebelled so badly.
Yeah.
Like, don't tell me what to do.
I thought you got those scars from high-speed chases, like action movies and stuff.
I mean, that too.
Stupid.
Chicks dig scars.
Oh, God.
Stupid.
I also had a friend who I grew up with, and we were, I wouldn't say best friends, because I had a love-hate relationship with her, because I recognized that she was older and smarter, and she knew what she was doing. She always seemed so mature, and I respected her. I still respect her to this day, but we just never connected, and we never kind of, like, we were never on the same page. We butted heads a lot. So she really leaned into that whole, like, femininity thing, like, at such a young age. And I remember she's a little bit bigger set. Even now she's a little bigger set. And I remember one day she pissed me off so badly, me being like 5, 6.
Damn.
I was a petty little girl, and she pissed me off. She pissed me off, and she likes to take control. And she said, we're gonna play inside, and we're gonna play dress up, and we're gonna play house. And I'm like, well, I want to play tag, so let's play tag. And it was me, her, and another girl that was a friend of ours. And she just argued so much, and we got into it. And eventually I got so upset, and I told her, well, just because you're girly and you want to do all of this, you know, doesn't mean that the rest of us are going to do it. And I remember saying that, and I kind of ended it in a rude way. I called her out, and I said that she was fat, which is why she didn't want to play tag. Which, this is me being like 6, I think.
Kids are evil.
I'm sorry.
Evil.
Yes, kids are jackasses. I was horrible. I recognize this. I'm sorry.
Bemnet.
I gave no fucks. I was rude, but I was also kind of stupid when I was little.
Was.
Shut up. And I just remember thinking, like, not only did I call her fat, but I also called her out on her just only wanting to do girly things. Like, it was a bad thing. Yeah. So for me, I've always kind of hated that internalized girls have to do this and this, boys have to do this and this. Like, even at a young age, I've always hated that. So that's why, kind of like, going back onto our subject, that's kind of why, me personally, I don't care for gender roles. I really don't. Whether that's like in the home, whether that's, you know, like your day-to-day lives, I don't care for it. Now, if that's something that, you know, works for your dynamic, great. Like, go for it. I'm not against it for you. I'm against it for me.
Yeah, it just sucks because, like, I see the gender roles happening so frequently now that I went back to live with my mother and my brothers, And I try to be as helpful as I can with my mom. Like, we all work in the house. We all try to make it work, and it's a good living situation. But I will tell you that I hate seeing how my brothers don't care to do the dishes. They don't care to clean up after themselves. And here is my mom still doing it, even though they're grown men. And it's something that she's never gonna not do. Like that, I've already came to terms that this is how she's always gonna be, because this woman comes home tired and she's like, now I gotta make lunch for your brother because he goes to work at like 5 a.m. And I'm like, but he's a grown man. He can make his own lunch. She needs to have something prepared before she leaves to work because my brother's coming home from work and he's gonna be hungry. And is it appreciative? Yes, but only when you want to do it. It shouldn't be expected for you to do it. And I see this all the time, and it bothers me because I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, Mom, you trained me to cook and clean, and I'm happy to do it, and I'm happy to help you. Why can't you do the same for these boys? Why? Because in my mother's mind, the wives that they choose will have to take over and do this for them. Hence why my brother, who doesn't live with us, he has his wife and kids, and she's cleaning up after him because that is what is expected. But it sucks, and it irritates me, and I hate it. But at the same time, this is how my mom was raised. This is how she, I guess, deals with it. And I'm hoping she's fine with it. And if she's not, in her mind, she's like, this is what I have to do. I'm the woman of the house. I'm their mother, so it's my job.
The only time that's acceptable, like when you're exhausted and you need to make food for your kids or whatever, is when they're all not old enough to like actually make food themselves. Maybe even like early teenagers, like early teens, like maybe like 10, 11, 12, like around that age. Like then I'm like, okay, yes, you need to make sure there's food in there so they can just pop it in the microwave and they're not just eating random crap off the street, like a squirrel.
Just leave them a peanut.
That's right. But I think everybody, every person, regardless of who you are, I mean, there's exceptions if you're disabled, but every person should know cooking, basics of cleaning, or at least basics of cooking, basics of cleaning, just generally how to take care of yourself. Because the thing is, even if you kind of grew into that mentality of, oh, I'm going to get a wife and the wife's going to cook and clean or whatever, what happens if she leaves you? What happens if she dies? What happens if something happens? What happens if she like breaks her legs and can no longer do things like that? You know, like shit happens. So you should know how to take care of the household. And I know that's like a funny bit in like old sitcoms where it's all like the mom takes care of everything and then she gets into an accident or something happens or she leaves for a week and then the house falls apart because the dad and the kids don't know how to take care of it. So I know that's a funny bit or whatever, but in reality, learn how to take care of yourself. Like just as long as you know basics. Like if you can just make basic foods and know how to mop and broom or whatever the case may be, just know how to do basic stuff. And this goes for men and also women too. Like as far as like a basic stuff, like I mean like basic all around, learn basic maintenance. You know, I think everybody should know how to fix a tire. Like
I know somewhat. I mean, I'm still gonna need a hot, handsome guy to come help me if ever happens.
That's fine, but I think you should at least know how to do it. Like I think everybody should know basic home maintenance and basic like cleaning, basic cooking. Like I think it should be a shared
basic
experience.
washing.
Because none of that is gender roles. All of that is necessity.
No, they treat it as a gender role though. Yeah. And this is something that I will say. I am so grateful that my mother taught me how to cook and how to clean, because I know I'll be fine. If I wake up and there's no food on the freaking stove because she was too tired, that's fine. I can fry an egg. I can cook. I can do things to feed myself. I can clean. You have no idea how satisfying it is to have that house perfect so that when she comes home after working her ass off, all she needs to do is go to sleep because everything has been taken care of. But a lot of people don't want that. They don't want the mom teaching the sons how to cook. They get offended. Why? That's a girl's job. Do not teach my son how to do this and that. It's bullshit. It is complete bullshit. The same thing with the girls. No, do not teach my daughter how to fix a tire. That's what she has us for. Until when? Anything can happen. Freddy's right. Life is so unpredictable. And as much as parents say, well, I'm giving my kids a proper education for the future, that's fine, but also teach them the basics of life, shit that we don't learn in school, because it does help in the long run. Like, you know, like God forbid something happens and you lose a parent, or, you know, like Freddy said, you hurt yourself or you can't do the things you used to. It's just beneficial to be fair,
at least somewhat independent.
Yes.
Somewhat.
And here's the thing, I feel like there's no excuse nowadays, because there's TikTok, there's YouTube, there's like literally you can learn the basics from a basic YouTube video that's like 2 minutes long on how to fry an egg. Unless you go into like the whole Gordon Ramsay and like how to cook an egg properly, then it's like, whoa, okay. Properly? Well, yeah, because apparently there's like a proper way to scramble eggs.
Look, if it's delicious and edible, I'll be fine.
As long as I don't like get sick or something, it's cooked properly.
And not even that, like there's like little the technology that we have nowadays has made it so easier. Air fryer, at least learn how to use that.
Oh, I love my air fryer.
Like pop some stuff in the freezer to the air fryer so you don't starve. Like I feel like we're at a point where you should not be like, Mom, I'm hungry. Mom, do this. Mom, do that. It's like Freddy said, if you're a kid, fine, because you're a kid. But I feel like once you're in your teenage years, you should, bless you.
Thank you.
You should really know how to at least, bless you.
Thank you.
How to at least fry an egg, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's fair.
No, absolutely. You should know how to do basic stuff.
Learn how to make basic meals, learn how to cook, or learn how to clean at least enough to where it's like decent. It doesn't need to be like, you know, you can lick the floors and you'll be fine, but you know, decent cleanliness. But on top of that, like going back to learn how to change a tire, learn how to do an oil change, like stuff like that, like basic necessities all around.
Yeah.
Learn how to change a light bulb and stuff like that. Like,
yeah. Like, you don't, like, I'm not saying you have to learn how to rebuild a carburetor or something, or learn how to take apart an engine.
I can do that.
No, you can't. But just basic stuff that you can fix, that you can just run to the store, grab the oil filter, come back. Usually most hardware stores, they have like a whole kit set up in the beginning. It's like, oh, you need an oil change kit? Buy all this. It's like, granted, it's probably overpriced and they probably sell you shit you don't need. But regardless, it's there.
And also nowadays, a lot of things have like QR codes where you just scan it.
Yeah.
You just scan it and it'll tell you instructions. Like it'll take you to like a YouTube video or something. Yeah. And then it'll walk you step by step.
Yeah. I mean, bottom line, I have hopes for the future. Like I said, more people are like starting to understand that these roles and these rules were bullshit and that that's not how it should be.
Yeah.
So I'm so hopeful that as more people like have children, they will raise them with a different mentality than what we were used to.
Yeah.
Here's hoping, because you still have the people out that'll be stuck in their ways forever. But I hope that there's more of us that are like, no, than, you know, there is of the old school people.
There is also people that, and I'm speaking for myself, well, when I was younger, where I would just not let anybody in the kitchen and help me cook because you didn't know how to do it.
Yeah, I hated you for that.
Hey, I was, because y'all don't know how to do it properly. So y'all would just fuck shit up, and I couldn't have that.
And that's fine, but what pisses me off about that is don't fucking sit there and say y'all didn't help me.
I will say that.
No, don't, because that is such a gripe. That is something that I will go off on you for. If I offer you my help and you say no, here's the perfect example. I like shit done a specific way at my job. So I'm kind of like Micky. When they ask me something like, no, I got it. Why? Because I'm very anal about my stuff. I have things done a certain way. However, shut up, Freddy. However, I will never go around and say, well, I do everything by myself, but everyone here fucking sucks. No, I chose to do everything by myself. That's what I'm telling her. Fine, you want to be in the kitchen myself, that's fine. But do not bitch about it when we offered you our help. Because that is so triggering.
I don't do that anymore.
You used to do that, and I used to want to punch you in the face.
Well, because y'all didn't do it properly.
You'll teach me how to do it properly.
Well,
what?
You take forever to do it.
Oh boy.
This just reminds me of my mother trying to teach me how to cook. Because I learned all the basics. That was nothing. And then she tried to teach me all of this like fancy stuff for more traditional cooking. And she's like, so you're going to do this and this and this and this and this. And I'm like, okay, well, teach me instead of just showing me. Because you did like 5 things all at once and I don't know what I'm doing.
No patience, yeah.
And then she gets mad at me when I don't want to learn because I don't know how to. That's not me being taught. That's just do this.
Wow.
That's a pet peeve of mine that I've realized now that I've gotten older. As far as like people teaching me how to do stuff, if you're gonna sit there and just say do this, that means nothing to me, and I will not learn. I will not.
So, and that's the thing, though. That's the thing. I'm going off a little bit topic, but that's the thing, though. When you teach your children something and you are like you get like brazen with them, or you raise your voice or whatever. A lot of times, the reason a child doesn't want to learn how to do stuff is because they don't want to learn from you. Mm-hmm. I mean, as messed up as that sounds, is because you yell at them or you raise your voice or you call them names
or sometimes you take over, because my mom will do that too. Like she'll say, okay, all you have to do is this and this and this, and she'll start off nice and be like, okay, now you try, and then I'll start doing it, and she's like, you're doing it all wrong, let me take over.
Yeah, a lot of times it's because the child doesn't want to learn from you because of how you behaved previously, last time this happened.
So yes, well, before we wrap it up, just again, don't be afraid to teach your kids everything. Screw these whole gender roles, they're so stupid.
Screw the gender norm.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Unless that works for you and that's your thing, I guess. But, don't be toxic about it.
And maybe talk to your kids, because just because you're good with them doesn't mean they are. You don't want resentful kids, trust me. Anyway, so
put you in a nursing home.
So before we wrap it up, any last minute thoughts, comments, concerns?
I mean, you kind of said my thoughts and comments.
Yeah, you wrapped it all up.
Yeah, you did. I was going to say something at the end, but I completely forgot about it now. We need like a little board so I can be like,
I'll just take
I cannot.
I have a whiteboard.
notebooks.
I'll bring it in.
I don't want a notebook. I want a whiteboard so I can erase it.
So you'll get a fancy board and none of us will?
First of all, I get to write it. I can write it. I can be like,
Excuse me, it's my board.
I wonder if there's whiteboard tables.
Yeah.
So like we could just be here and just like write.
Okay, we're getting severely off topic. I am so sorry, guys, listening and watching. Anything before we wrap it up?
no.
No, I'm good. I think I got everything out. Just like, screw gender norms. Mm-hmm. For me personally, I'm speaking for myself. Screw gender.
Yeah, same.
but
I agree.
Once again, we love feedback from you guys. Comment below if you're okay with the gender norms. Cool. What do you agree? What don't you agree? As always, please be respectful of everyone else's opinions. And of course, submit some questions that you have that you want us to tackle. Maybe some advice you want us to tackle for you guys. Follow us on TikTok.
Is there something we missed that you think we should discuss?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you agree with one of us and not the other? Like,
Yeah, fuck them.
I cannot. All right, but yes. So until next time, guys. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.